Okay, guys, let's start. Now, in this particular video, we will be learning Form 5 Chapter 3. Okay, Form 5 Chapter 3, which would be coordination and response. Okay, and today we have a new student. Yeah, come on. I'm not sure whether you have seen him before. Maybe in the video you have. This is Patch. Yeah, this is Patch. Hey boy. Patch boy. Say hi. Patch boy. Okay. Okay, guys. So we are looking at topic 3. Topic 3, coordination and response. Okay. First of all, can you state the role of our nervous system? Okay, can you state the role of our nervous system? Now, if you ask me, sir, how to answer this if it comes out in exam, very simple. You don't have to memorize and come up with it in the exam hall. All you have to do is just recall the topic name, coordination and response. Guys, our nervous system is to help us to carry out coordination and response in the body. Okay? Now, let's say exam comes out, draw a diagram to show organization of the nervous system. Let's say 2 marks. How does it look like in your head now? How does it look like? Okay? Oh yeah, if you are new to the video, this is called the farting sound. Okay. Okay, Patch, farting sound. Okay. Okay, now, so the organization of the nervous system. First of all, human nervous system is divided into 2 groups: central nervous system and also peripheral nervous system. Yeah. Okay, you go down and play lah. Okay. Okay, so human nervous system is divided into central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. It's like I always use this association. Guys, if I were to ask you, nearest the Maybank nearest to your house, is it considered the HQ? HQ means headquarters. HQ means headquarters. Okay, the Maybank nearest to your house, is it the headquarters? Answer is no. So if you have been to the city of Kuala Lumpur, the Maybank tower is very obvious. The Maybank building, super duper obvious. Okay, so that is, if we call that the HQ, what about the Maybank near your house? That one is called branch. That one is called a Maybank branch. So in this case here, it works exactly the same. The central nervous system, which we call it CNS, is considered the HQ, the headquarters, the main structure of our nervous system, while peripheral nervous system is considered a branch. In fact, you'll see there are many branches. There are many branches involved. So again, CNS, there are 2 sub-branches which include brain and spinal cord. Okay, brain and spinal cord, saraf tunjang, spinal cord. While peripheral nervous system refers to branches coming out from the brain. Okay, we call them cranial nerves. While branches coming out from the spinal cord, we call them spinal nerves. Yeah. Alright. So what you're looking at here is the organization of our human nervous system. Guys, if you have my latest notes, please refer to page 5, muka surat 5. Oh, by the way, page 4, I will leave it to you guys. Page 4, I'll leave it to you all. Means you all can just read through because there's nothing tough there. basic stuff like stimulus, response, receptors, all these you have learned before. Just read through one go will do. Okay, Muka Surat 5, page 5. On the left hand side, you can highlight the points yourself, and most importantly, draw 2 stars for the organization. Use a red pen, draw 2 stars for the organization. And at the bottom here, I included the guy's back, backside back. Okay, anyway, I want you to use your highlighter, you color the brain and spinal cord. Okay, warnakan, tolong warnakan otak dan saraf tunjang. Why? Because this is the CNS. What is CNS? Central Nervous System. Okay. Moving on, we have to know parts of the brain along with their function. Okay, we have to know the main parts of the brain and the function. Guys, if you have done in school, okay, how many main parts are there to our brain? Answer is 3. Can you name the 3 parts? Okay, let's check. So, this is our brain. A lot of students, when they see this for the very first time, they thought, oh, this is the brain. Oh, these are not. These are some other bonus extra stuff. Answer no. These 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3, all these 3 make up the whole brain. Yeah? So, can you tell me what is this? This and this. Okay? I'll just mention the last one first. The red colored structure, we call it the medulla. To be more specific, medulla oblongata, which we have seen in your Form 4 Chapter 7 syllabus. Okay. Okay, now, the biggest part of the brain, we call it the cerebrum. Biggest part of the brain, we call it cerebrum. Okay, now below the cerebrum, this is the cerebellum. This is the cerebellum, whereby normally sportsmen, sportswomen who are quite active in their respective sports, they have quite well developed cerebellum. Again, as for the red colored structure here, we call this the medulla oblongata. Okay. Now guys, if we view our brain from the top, okay, pandangan atas, top view, this is how the cerebrum looks like. Yeah, you can see very clearly it is divided into left hemisphere as well as right hemisphere. Okay. And I'm sure along the way, throughout the many years of studying, you have heard of something like this. Our left brain controls right side of our body, while right brain controls left side of our body. Number 1, these are extra stuff. Number 2, if you are a very creative person, you are using your right brain more. If you are a very creative person, for example, I have one student, he is super duper creative. Guys, did you watch Avengers Endgame? Did you watch Avengers in general? The glove which Thanos wore, he actually made a glove like that. He made a glove like that. He made a glove of Thanos and a glove for Iron Man, whereby he can put all the Infinity Stones. So if you are someone like this, you are constantly thinking of something creative. You are more towards the right brain. You're using your right brain more. But if you are very geared towards calculation, I would say, calculation, analysis, you are geared more towards the left brain. Okay. Of course, there are people like myself. We use one part more, the other part as well. Okay. If you can log on to Google, I think there are many tests which allow you to determine how much you use your left brain and your right brain. Like for mine, mine is left quite a lot, but right as well. Right as well. Means it's maybe a 70-30 lah, or 60-40. Okay, yeah. Now, if we were to split the cerebrum into half, then we view it from the left side. This is what we are able to see. Okay. So, following your syllabus, we have to label the parts, and then later we look at the function, guys. Okay, check. This is called the hypothalamus. This is called the hypothalamus. On top would be thalamus. Okay. Again, from the bottom, this is called pituitary gland. Kelenjar pituitary, kelenjar pituitary. Hypothalamus is just a very small region. Okay, if I were to use a red pen, so it is just a very small region. I think blue will be better. Purple. Okay, guys, this is your hypothalamus. And on top would be the thalamus. Hey, please don't pronounce this as what thalamus. Thalamus, no, it's called thalamus. Okay. Yeah. So pituitary gland, hypothalamus, then thalamus. All right. Now, if a person gets stroke, meaning a part of the brain is dead, okay, this would lead to paralysis. Okay, paralysis. You can see here, for instance, just a very simple example. This person here, this part of the brain got problem. Why? Because of stroke, brain dead, then there will be paralysis. Okay, because you can see, because that part of the brain is gone, brain dead lah. So therefore you can't see much blood vessels there anymore. Okay. Yeah, paralysis. Now, just for you to know, I think as Malaysians we should know this lah. Stroke is considered the third biggest killer from the 1980s, 1990s. Okay, stroke is number 3. Number 1 would be heart disease. Okay, heart disease, not lung disease, heart disease. And then motor vehicle accident, number 2. Okay, road fatality is always an issue in Malaysia. So never mind. Among symptoms of stroke would include migraine, headache, blur vision, unable to speak clearly, or you can't find the right words. When I say can't find the right words, some students in my class, they assume, oh, it's like karangan, sir, cannot find the perkataan yang betul untuk dituliskan. That's not stroke, don't worry. Okay, and the confirmation, guys, the confirmation of stroke is this: unable to balance oneself. Okay, all right, unable to balance oneself. You always tripping, always falling. So now, again, based on the few things we have learned, now I join the whole thing together. So this is cerebrum. How about this? Cerebellum. Medulla Oblongata. The function is very unique. Later, if you haven't learned, we'll be looking at it later. It's a very special part of the brain. Yeah. Hypothalamus. This small region. And this would be the thalamus. Alright? This would be the thalamus. Okay. Okay, oh, by the way, if you do have my notes, guys, if you do have my notes, you come for my classes and you have my notes, you can look at page 5. I purposely separated the region between thalamus and hypothalamus, whereby there are two parts there. The smaller part you can color one color, which refers to thalamus, which refers to hypothalamus. Then the bigger region, bahagian yang lebih besar, kamu warnakan satu lagi warna, then you highlight thalamus. Okay, alright. Okay, little part we will be looking at cerebrum. Okay, along with the different parts of the cerebrum, alright. Okay, I'll teach you cerebrum first. I'll teach you cerebrum first, then only I come to one interesting part. Okay guys, cerebrum here is the biggest part of the brain. Because it interprets most of the information from the receptors. It interprets information from receptors. For instance, if you smell, if you so happen to smell your mom's cooking, example, okay, or in class, your friend release some funny gas, then you inhale the funny gas, you feel very funny. That one is called information as well. Yeah, if you see a car, let's say if you see a car, okay, we will learn today, it goes to the back part of the brain. Because the back part of the cerebrum controls your vision, penglihatan. As I'm speaking, if you're watching this video, you are using your cerebrum as well, because your brain is interpreting whatever I'm saying. And the second main function is to control voluntary activities. Guys, voluntary activities are basically activities which can be controlled by an individual. Okay, think about it. What activities can you control? Okay, activity yang anda boleh kawal. Examples include, this is speaking, not kissing. Running, jogging. Okay, writing, answering a question. What else? Playing sports. Those are activities which you are able to control. Okay. Next. Now this is the specific part. This is the specific part which is not overly important, but I think it's good for you to know. As a bio student, I think for me it's a must know. It's a must know. Okay, number one, guys, have your parents or grandparents ever told you this? When you go to school, don't let someone hit the top of your head. Okay? If your answer is yes, the reason is because the top part of your cerebrum controls learning. Okay, it means enables learning. I will label the functions, I'll label the parts of cerebrum for you after this. Yeah, it's only labeled here. Okay, now. Okay, now, so the top part of we call this the frontal lobe. The yellow colored region is called the frontal lobe. The top part controls learning. So this is your learning center, the top part. Number two. Okay, I'm sure this happens in most science classes. Okay, whereby guys, do you have a friend in class, meaning a classmate, who score damn well in maths and maths. There will be that one or two funny fellas who will score 95 and above always, or maybe even touching 100. But other subjects are like shit The reason is because such individuals, oh maybe the person is you as well. Anyway. So the reason is this: the front part of the frontal lobe, this controls analysis, calculation. Yeah. So the front part here would be the analysis center, whereby math, analysis, calculus, the dy dx integration all is carried out in front. Okay. Which is also why many very enthusiastic scientists, you can, it's just my personal observation that it's nothing scientific. I realize most of them in front will be a bit bored. Maybe, I'm just saying maybe, they use a lot of the front part a lot. Yeah, who knows? Okay, anyway. Now, scent would be whatever you are smelling. Yeah, whatever you smell, it goes into this part of the frontal lobe. And last but not least, speech center is here. Okay. Again, guys, from the top, this is the learning center. What do you see here? A graph, correct? Analysis center. This here, a nose. So scent, then a mouth, speech. Okay. This is your frontal lobe. Now, as I'm speaking, you are listening, you are using your temporal lobe. Motor skill center is controlled by your parietal lobe. Now, I'm not too sure how your understanding is on skills or motor skills. I'm not sure how you learn it, but this is my way of teaching students. Okay, now motor skills, I occasionally conduct this thing called LADAP program for teachers, latihan dalam perkhidmatan. Okay, for biology teachers, one common question I get from the teachers would be, okay, they'll ask, cikgu, macam mana kita nak ajar motor skill ini? Okay, macam mana nak memberi nak memberi penjelasan yang baik kepada pelajar supaya dapat hafal dengan baik. Okay, so I told them motor skill, one way we can teach is, and one way you can, which means one way you can learn is, it is something that you learn, you will never forget. Okay, for example, guys, let's say you can play piano. You can play piano, guitar. Is it possible if you wake up one day and you completely forget how to play the piano and the guitar? Answer is no. Okay. Swimming would be the best example. Swimming, guys, if you can swim, let's say the last time you swam was 1 year ago. Swimming, is it possible if I were to throw you into the water now, then you find that you completely forgot how to swim? By right, the answer is no. Okay. Of course, I'm not talking about how fast you can swim. That one is up to how much you practice. Yeah. If you can swim but you can't really move, means you lack practice. Okay. Okay. So motor skill center is something you learn and will never forget. It is taught in the parietal lobe. That's why kids nowadays are strongly encouraged to pick up a skill, kemahiran, like the few I mentioned just now, swimming, all those, taekwondo, yeah. And finally, at the back, vision center is in the occipital lobe. Okay, it's in the occipital lobe. So now, okay, if you have my notes, you can draw a very simple diagram. Just copy this diagram on the empty page. Okay, follow exactly. Follow exactly. Meaning you draw the book, you draw the graph, the nose. Okay. You don't have to draw the whole person. You can just draw someone running. Like that, it's right. Okay, you can just draw someone running. Then the ear. Okay, all right. So this is called the frontal lobe, bottom temporal lobe, on top parietal lobe. Okay, I'll just write it here. Parietal lobe, and the backmost would be occipital lobe. Okay. Yeah, if you are my student watching this now, you weren't in class, please pause this video and copy this on your empty page. Draw the pictures, don't write the words, because visual helps in memorizing. Okay, pause the video, copy this. Okay guys, assuming you have finished, we move on to the next part. Now again, what are the three parts of the brain? Cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla. Let's move on to the second part, medulla oblongata. Now, medulla here, function is to carry out involuntary actions. Involuntary actions are actions which a person cannot control. Okay, for example, I remember this happened like I think 2 years back. Yeah, I mentioned action which a person can't control. A student asked a super good question. So does falling in love count as involuntary action? A girl actually asked that, because then I asked, how come you thought of this? Then she said, oh sir, because I really can't control. I easily fall for many guys. Yeah. So, food for thought, something for you to think about. Okay, now examples of involuntary actions include secretion of tears. Guys, can you prevent your tears from coming out? Let's say some sand particles went into your eye, you're rubbing it, then the tears come out. Can you control it? Answer is you can't. Yeah. Salivary glands secreting saliva, you can't control. Pumping of heart. This is the standard example which they require you to know in exam. Okay, heart, pumping of heart. Okay, is it possible for you to actually stop? You say, oh sir, I want to rest my heart pumped too long already. No such thing. The moment your heart rests, you also rest in peace. No such thing. Okay. Okay, this refers to secretion of enzymes, peristalsis, and contraction relaxation of the bladder. All these here are examples of involuntary action. If you are wondering, oh sir, which two most important? Number one, pumping of the heart. Number two, breathing. Okay. Now, if we follow your syllabus, these two are most important, pumping of heart and breathing. But if you think about it deeper, can you control breathing? If you are saying no, We can control it, guys. Okay? Then you'll be arguing, oh, so then this is voluntary, what? This is voluntary. Okay, the thing is this, just to make sure you all are clear, okay, that there are things whereby there are things whereby the things you learn in PT3, the things you learn in Form 3 last time, is not so accurate when you come to SPM level. Okay, alright. Example would be, okay, I think I use one particular color. Yeah, one color. Okay, let's something which is not accurate here in SPM. Okay, example would be in PT3 we see girls produce ovum. Okay, in PT3 you say girls produce ovum. In SPM this is not so accurate. In SPM, I'm not saying this is completely wrong, this is not so accurate. Why? Okay, because in SPM we see, okay, for viewers now who are, I mean if you are watching this, if you are a student, you are below 18, okay, the sentence is girls do not have ovum. Yes, girls do not have ovum, right? Why? Reason is because what you all have now is not yet ovum. This is called secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte, which we learn in Form 5, Chapter 4, reproduction. Okay? When there is fertilization, then only this becomes the ovum. If got fertilization, yeah. Oh, the F stands for fertilization, okay. Alright, a very funny story. I think there's this student of mine. I think her brain stopped the moment I say girls don't have ovum. Because she went home and told the mom, "Oh, Mr. Khor said I got no ovum." Then the mom got a shock. Then she called me. Serious, true story. Okay, anyway, now coming to this, where are we now? Yeah, so there are some things in SPM you learn which in pre-U, pre-U meaning STPM, meaning A levels, diploma, foundation, MAFI, SIS, and so on. Okay, which is not so accurate. Alright, means something you learn here, it is not so accurate when it comes to pre-U. Example would be this, the involuntary action. Guys, in your syllabus, they state that breathing, pernafasan, is an involuntary action. But some of you definitely will be arguing, sir, I can control it. How come it's involuntary? You are right. You are right. The syllabus is not so accurate. But sometimes it's like this. You have to learn something simpler, then you learn the more advanced one later. So to be most accurate, okay, it's like this. In pre-U, we still learn involuntary and voluntary, and there are two things that have both characteristic. Means if you want to, you can control. If you do not want to, you don't have to control it. Yeah. Number one is breathing. Number two, can you think of the other example? Again, if you're not clear with my statement, in pre-U biology, there are two examples which are both voluntary and involuntary. Number one is breathing. Number two, can you guess it? The answer is blinking of eyes. Blinking of eyes. Okay? Why? Can you control your eyes? Answer is yes. You see, we can control. You want to blink more, you want to blink less, you don't want to blink at all. Okay? But when you are not controlling it, is it blinking? Yes. Okay, so it is actually both voluntary and voluntary. But this part you do not need to know at all for SPM level. Just bear in mind first lah. Just bear in mind first. Involuntary, breathing, and heartbeat. That's all. That's all. Okay. When you go up to pre-U, then your lecturer will teach you. It's actually both. It's actually both. Okay. Clear? Alright. And last but not least, the cerebellum. Cerebellum here, as mentioned earlier, athletes, they have really good cerebellum. Sportsmen, sportswomen, those who represent Malaysia, they have super good cerebellum. Reason is because, number one, cerebellum controls balance. Okay. Okay, cerebellum controls balance. Number two, muscle coordination. Okay, some books will put posture to control posture. And center for skills, not so much. Not so much. It's more towards the parietal. Alright. Okay, so yeah. So again, cerebellum function is for balance control. Balance control. Posture control or muscle coordination also can. In exam, they won't ask you this lah. They won't ask you this because motor skills is tuned more towards parietal lobe. Okay, so before we end, last thing I want to talk about is this. In today's modern world, jobs and careers are super competitive. The job market, job market. One skill which is essential for the job market, I would say is this lah, typing. Because this quite a lauya computer. Yeah, in today's world is the age of computers lah. So if you don't have skills like Microsoft, Facebook for me is a skill. Facebook, web designing, okay, it's better to have. You have a higher chance of getting hired. This is for job. For yourself, I think this is essential. Swimming. Okay, simply because our earth is mainly made up of water. Okay, alright, yeah guys. Okay, if you have my notes, you can try this out. Okay, I will give you the answers as well. Okay, if you have my notes, you can try now. Just pause the video, and try now. Okay, number 8 answer is C, cerebellum. Can see muscle coordination and balance, cerebellum. SPM 1980s terdapat 5 pilihan. Okay, back then 1980s. Cerebellum, coordinate muscle movement. This is exactly what I was talking about the last few minutes. Draw 2 stars for this question. Don't be surprised if they ask you heartbeat and breathing. Don't be surprised if they ask you breathing. So answer is answer is Medulla Oblongata. Why? Because these two are considered involuntary actions. Okay? Body balance, cerebellum, and SPM 2005. Again, this cerebellum controls body balance. Okay? Yeah, guys. With that, Okay, with that we end the first video for this topic. Alright. If you are interested, you can move on to my other videos which relates to spinal cord and reflex action. Okay, that's all for now. I'm Mr. Khor. Thank you.